This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, an uneven car park in central Dunedin is set to be the base for the Accident Compensation Corporation. The Dunedin City Council has voted for major changes to the city's household waste strategy. And a long-serving Dunedin principal is set to retire after many years. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Daryl Baser. A bumpy old car park in Dunedin's Dowling Street is set to become the site of a stylish new building for the ACC. Currently, the corporation's staff work at 4 different locations across the city, and the new building is set to provide them with one purpose-built office.
Dunedin's Dowling Street car park is to be the site of a new 4-storey office building for the ACC. Chief Executive Scott Pickering says the project is a 50-50 venture between Ngāi Tahu and the ACC, with the Accident Compensation Corporation leasing the building from Ngāi Tahu for 20 years.
Ngāi Tahu worked very closely with the Dunedin City Council through this process. The council have been very, very supportive, and it's just a fabulous location.
The development is to incorporate sustainable design features, including bike parks and multiple charging stations for electric vehicles.
The synergies that we will get from a modern, purpose-built, environmentally friendly building are going to be huge.
Dunedin serves as an essential hub for ACC's national operations, and the new building will be able to house the 650 staff currently working in 4 separate locations across the city.
After everything that 2020 has thrown at us, to finish the year with such a good news story and such a positive story for not only our 650 staff here in Dunedin about our future and our commitment to the city, but also importantly that we will create a location that will be extremely beneficial for the community and our customers.
Construction of the building is expected to start next year and be completed in 2024. In Dunedin, The South Today.
The threat which led to both the university and Polytechnic abandoning graduation ceremonies this week has now led to the cancellation of the weekend's events. The email threat to the University of Otago warned of bombing and shooting. The university has decided to abandon this weekend's graduation ceremonies, affecting about 700 students. A threatening email was sent to the University of Otago earlier this week, saying students wouldn't be safe at graduation parades. Police have so far declined to comment on the nature of the threat. University Vice-Chancellor Harleen Hayne says her heart goes out to all those affected by this. Dunedin City Councillors have voted in favour of at least 4 rubbish and recycling bins per household. The cost to ratepayers could be well over $300 a year.
Black plastic bags have to go and be replaced with bins to ensure the safety of rubbish collectors. So that means 1 extra wheelie bin per household. The Dunedin public were asked earlier this year for feedback on 2 proposals put forward by the City Council. Idea 1 was to continue the current system, but with a second bin to replace rubbish bags. Idea 2 is for a similar setup, but with an extra bin for green waste and food scraps. And this is the option that the Council has now voted for. If implemented, households can be expected to pay between an extra $200 and $240 a year in rates. But it's not over yet, with the possibility of the new bin being dedicated just to food scraps, and the addition of a 5th bin, this time for green waste. That would mean an extra $340 to $420 per year in everyone's rates. Councillors are due to consider funding options next year. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Custom-built wooden parklets used in the Dunedin City Council trial last year will soon find new homes in other parts of the city. The DCC set up 5 parklets in the city last year with seating, trees, plants and bicycle parks at a cost of more than $160,000. The aim was to provide small public spaces next to footpaths to improve amenity values. The parklets were removed during the early stages of COVID-19 to address social distancing requirements and are now being stored at Tahuna Park. The council is addressing proposals for the reuse of the parklets, but they won't be going back to Dunedin's main street. Instead, some are going to the university area and another will be placed in front of Dunedin's historic prison. For Paul Richardson, primary education has always been about much more than just reading, writing and arithmetic. Mr. Richardson, 65, retires next year after 18 years as principal at Sacred Heart School. He says his focus has always been on the education of the whole person. When Sacred Heart's headmaster retires early next year, it'll close a lengthy chapter in the school's history. Paul Richardson says teaching was a late career change for him, and Sacred Heart has been his only school.
I was a teacher and a deputy principal for a few years, and then the opportunity to become a principal presented itself to me in 2002.
He sees education as about realising the potential and personal fulfilment of pupils and celebrating their experience of success. Richardson says the community around the North Dunedin School is strong, providing good moral fibre.
It's the community. It's a fine reflection of the Valley community, and it's a caring, close community with a very high sense of what's important in life.
He says learning is supposed to be fun, and people learn better when they enjoy themselves. So you have to make it interesting and fulfilling. He says every child who walks in the school's doors is an individual, and teaching individuals helps teachers hone their own professional practice.
Just working with individuals, because no two children are the same, and it's just that constant buzz that you get from witnessing the self-discovery and discovering things about yourself as a teacher as well. So it's that journey that you travel on, that educational journey that you travel on.
Paul Richardson's journey with Sacred Heart comes to an end early 2021. As for his retirement, he plans to stay in Dunedin to undertake some DIY projects at home and make time for travel with his wife Pat. In Dunedin, the South Today. And still to come on the South Today, organisers are hopeful the party isn't over for a Mosgiel event, and we have an update on the Dry Bread Cemetery project. See you after the break.
Here I am in the middle of George Street, corner of Hanover and George. Come and see what I get in here. This is where I go shopping. So look what I can choose from in here. It's fantastic. Knitwear, flash shirts. Look at those flash shirts. Trousers, jeans, pullovers. Oh look, they've got some hoodies. I love hoodies.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
But my friend Lindsay, he says this store's only here till January the 10th, so I better dash. See you later.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
over 100 years, Presbyterian Support has been helping people in your region through all conditions, ages and stages of life. Our Enliven and Family Work services are always there when you need them. People in your community are facing unprecedented challenges and they need your help. By making a donation to your local Presbyterian Support in South Canterbury, Otago or Southland, you'll be helping us to help people where you live. Together we can make a difference. We are people helping people.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
No mai anō, welcome back. The Otago Regional Council has extended its $2 bus fares in Dunedin until at least the middle of 2021. The flat fares are $2 for adults and $1.20 for youths with a B card, or $3 each in cash. The flat fare system was introduced on an interim basis about 4 months ago and replaced the 5-zone system. The ORC says it's important bus users take advantage of these fares to demonstrate they're sustainable in the long term. A similar flat fare system is returning to Queenstown as well as a $10 fare to and from the airport. Organisers of Mosgill's Party in the Park are hoping that Dunedin City Council will reconsider its decision not to allow the event to go ahead at Mosgill's Memorial Gardens. The Party in the Park has been held in Mosgill almost every year since it started in 2006. However, organisers have been declined permission to hold the party at the gardens next year. The council says it turned down the application because of concerns about damage caused to the site and facilities last summer. Party organisers say damage such as singed grass after the last party were easily rectified and marks disappeared after some rain and lawn mowing. They say the park is the best site as it's sheltered with a fenced playground for young children and it has public toilets. Graves revealed during an archaeological investigation at Drybread Cemetery near Elmako include those of Chinese gold miners and infants. The project is a collaboration between the University of Otago and Southern Archaeology.
There's not much evidence left of the bustling little gold rush town of Drybread these days, but an archaeological team are digging trenches to improve their understanding of the short-lived historic settlement. Dr. Peter Petrie of Southern Archaeology knows they're in the right place after lining up surrounding mountains with a sketch done in 1869, and there's a few other records of the era.
And we've also got an 1872 map which shows huts still here well after the gold, 10 years after the gold rush, but there's still a few huts left here then. And a photograph which previously is thought to be at Matakanui actually lines up also with the skylines here. So we know that, you know, in the late 1860s, early 1870s, people were living, you know, right here. So we're pretty certain that this is Drybread, this is the township.
The investigation has been helped with special photographic techniques to reveal the differences in the ground surface not visible to the naked eye.
And we've also got LiDAR images of this area, so we know where the sort of lumps and bumps in the ground, which we also want to test, which is what we're doing here. This trench is actually across a small round or square raised feature. We don't know what it is yet, we're excavating it. Which we're looking at. So we're going to test out all these things as we go.
The settlement of Drybread was at the bottom of a shallow valley, which eventually got filled by gold mining sluicing operations, potentially burying the town up to 12 metres deep.
The town site, the evidence may actually be quite deeply buried. So we're looking carefully on the surface, but we're also going to dig some hopefully quite deep holes to see how deep these tailings are likely to be. Because some of these tailings fans can, be very deep, 30 or 40 feet deep. So, we may never find the town. We're looking hard, but we know where it was, but it may be buried. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
The archaeologists have also been invited to investigate nearby Drybread Cemetery, with 6 unmarked graves now properly identified. The team also found 10 burials of adults and 2 of infants. 6 of those are probably Chinese, with one of the burials previously exhumed of its bones, probably for repatriation back to China on the SS Ventor, which sank in 1902 outside Hokianga Harbour. In Drybread, the South Today.
And after the break on the South Today, we continue our look back at the year in news, landing in March, and we have your weekend weather for you. See you soon.
Welcome to Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have no shortage of stock. Check these out. We've got the Dunedin print t-shirts. Check out our zillions of short sleeve shirts. These are crackers. They iron themselves in the wash. Iron cheetah they're called. And there's some really cool polo shirts. Look at all the bright colours. And of course there's no shortage of shorts. This is always one of our brightest corners. Our long sleeve fashion shirts. Jeans, casual trousers, dress trousers, you name it, we have you covered.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So if you're shopping for your family or yourself, come and see Alex Campbell Menswear stores. We're full of stock.
Do PVC windows and doors. PVC is 9% more efficient than standard aluminium and 60% more efficient than thermally broken aluminium. It's multi-chambered, you don't get any condensation through the frame. And if you put decent glass in, you get a big difference to aluminium.
Step into Shop on Carol and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Here I am in the middle of George Street, corner of Hanover and George. Come and see what I get in here. This is where I go shopping. So look what I can choose from in here. It's fantastic. Knitwear, flash shirts. Look at those flash shirts. Trousers, jeans, pullovers. Oh look, they've got some hoodies. I love hoodies.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
But my friend Lindsay, he says this store's only here till January the 10th. So I better dash. See you later.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Lord, 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 hear it more. Don't you hear Jerusalem more? Don't you hear Jerusalem more? Bring the man he used to be back. My armor already cut to the fall. Don't you dare take that country out of me.
Thanks for staying with us. The enormity of COVID-19 became more of a reality in March, with people being asked to practice social distancing before a complete lockdown was ordered across the country. Prior to then, public events and overseas film shoots continued as usual.
Hollywood A-listers Kirsten Dunst and Benedict Cumberbatch were in Otago in March to make a Netflix film directed by Jane Campion. The production was charged just a standard fee for the use of the Anzac Gardens outside Dunedin's railway station.
We charge $500 a day for a full day's permit. They've paid a fee to book a park, and that's the same as all other sports teams and activities that use council property like sports fields and reserves.
Thousands flocked to the Taieri airfield to see rare aircraft and vehicles at the 2020 Taieri Wings and Wheels Spectacular. A trial closure of Dunedin's Octagon to traffic finally came to an end. Many stallholders said their business had halved while cruise ship buses couldn't drop passengers at the Octagon.
They'll come in through New World to come into the city centre when they've been dropped at Countdown. They might, if they're on an excursion, come as far as the eyesight.
The reality of COVID-19 and the need for social distancing became more of an issue for retailers, with a Dunedin hairdresser making the preemptive decision to close its doors.
Obviously we've been concerned about everything that's been happening in the news and everything. We can't practice social distancing as hairstylists.
A week later, the country went into lockdown in a successful start to eradicating COVID-19 from the community.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. An uneven car park in central Dunedin is set to be the base for the Accident Compensation Corporation, bringing 4 officers together. The Dunedin City Council has voted on major changes for the city's household waste strategy, with ratepayers to foot the bill. And a long-serving Dunedin principal is set to retire after many years at a North Dunedin school. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Day Times. Welcome, Deputy Editor, Mr. Craig Page.
It's a hard word to say, Daryl.
It really is, especially if you get it so wrong as I do.
Hey, look, we've got more on this strange old week for students in the city, I guess, with cancellations of graduations, both Polytech and University of Otago. Confirmation today that tomorrow's graduations for the university have also been cancelled, following on from those on Wednesday and Polytech today. Been able to ascertain that the threat was an emailed threat of a bomb and shooting, so police are still taking that really seriously, as you can imagine. Haven't quite managed to get to the bottom of it, hence they've decided to cancel. But it has been a strange old year for people, and I guess they've had to adapt throughout, and a lot of the students have done that as well as the institutions. There was a series of secret graduations going on today and yesterday with the Polytech and University, where groups doing various courses were invited along to the Polytech and the university to get their photo, their certificates, and I guess have an opportunity to be photographed with their lecturers and professors. So it's kind of quite nice as well that they managed to do that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it is, and it's nice to see that a lot of the families have decided to come to Dunedin anyway, even though the graduations aren't going ahead, and you know, Dunedin's reaping the benefit of that, so that's great. A good news story for Sarah Cohen School in Dunedin. They were to have $4 million spent on their current school as a bit of an upgrade for them. Ministry of Education has now decided to build them a new school from scratch on ground behind the former Carlton Hill School on Roselall Road. So great news for them. It's going to allow for sort of state-of-the-art facility really. It's going to have a purpose-built sensory room and a hydrotherapy pool. Of course, special needs students, particularly at Sarah Cohen. So that's great news for them. Hopefully completed by 2023. Weekend mix as well. We'll be having a look at the increase in eating disorders and I guess the concerning delay in the availability of treatment for those problems. I guess particularly relevant this time of the year with Christmas, such a focus on food as you can
Definitely.
imagine.
Yep.
And that's putting added pressure, of course, on people with eating disorders. So a really interesting read, well worth a look. And finally, sport. We'll have all the latest on the second cricket test between New Zealand and West Indies, carrying on as we speak. And of course, no Kane Williamson in this test, so it'll be interesting to see how we go without Captain Fantastic.
Indeed. Brilliant.
Thanks,
Craig. All that and more in tomorrow's ODT. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, it rained a lot this morning in Dunedin, causing surface flooding. Looking at the situation, a cold southwesterly airflow will take all weekend to weaken, with chilly temperatures but mostly fine weather. It's just a little grey in the northwest, with 15 degrees in Westport and Greymouth. There's still a bit of cloud up top, and it'll be a pleasant 21 degrees in Nelson, with 17 for Blenheim. In Canterbury, the long white cloud reaches you. As well, Kaikoura, you're aiming for 16 degrees, Christchurch, you're slightly warmer on 18, and expect a bright blue sky over Ashburton as you head for 19 degrees. To the southern towns, where fresh southwesterlies and cloudy skies are the order of the day, Balclutha, Lumsden, the Catlins and Gore all heading for 14 degrees. In central Otago, moderate southwesterlies are on the cards here. Queenstown and Wanaka should reach 15, with 16 in Alexandra and 14 in Te Anau. Those moderate southwesterlies and mostly clear skies continue through the middle of the island. Timaru, Twizel and Omarama all head for 16, while Wamaru should reach 15 degrees. In Dunedin, we'll have showers tonight with fresh cold southwesterlies and an overnight low of 8 degrees. Morning showers clearing and the weather becomes better during the day with fine skies, a high of 14 and a low of 8. Mostly fine and sunny on Sunday, but rather cold with southwesterlies decreasing further, a high of 15 and a low of 6. And in Invercargill, showers tonight with an overnight low of 7. The showers clear during the day tomorrow, but strong cold winds continue from the southwest, a high of 11 and a low of 7. Plan for sunny periods and some cloud on Sunday, with fresh cold southwesterlies decreasing even further, looking at a high of 13 and a low of 5. And that's all from the South Today team for this Friday, and in fact for the week. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and weekend. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.